Chapter 1. The Suffering of Gods. 300 years after the events of Path of Shadow. I watched the goddess take quiet, lonely steps through the forest. Innocent, though a simple stride through the trees may seem, she is rebelling against the good forces that rule her. I can see the pain in her pale face, the constricted rage, purified cyclically, like water filtering through river rocks. She cannot hold anger for very long. It is not in her nature. And yet, she strides towards what I know to be an entrance to the sacred realm, with a fire burning in her. She has a mission, a plan, though I don't yet know what it is. I can see her determination. However, she has her limitations. I've watched her battle them myself. She's a strong current, pulling at the tides of time, but she must swim against those same tides. And the moon mocks her. It makes me smile to think of that betrayal, to know her angst rises from deep within, and nothing will quell it completely. She will always suffer in whatever form she takes. She will always be tormented. Just like me.
Sometimes the wind speaks to me. It is a kind of enchantment that has no beginning, no point of creation. It just occurs. The conversations are wispy. They lack substance. The wind is no more sentient than the beetle teetering on a ledge and falling to its death. It has no direction. It only knows that it must move. Unlike the beetle, the wind carries my own sentience to different places in the world, places where I can hide or be seen, depending on my aims. And today, I aim to be seen. When I made my request of the Sage of Light many hundreds of years ago, he had been stunned into silence, his fists clenched at his side. I could feel his soul roiling within him. Though Rauru honors me, I know that he felt betrayal from me that day. What I asked of him was tantamount to treason against his own land. But he could not deny me. Today, I cross the threshold of the sacred realm, feeling the light brush against my skin. I prefer to take the form of a Hylian when I visit this world. It brings earthly beings a sense of familiarity, keeps their calm steady. Fear only breeds confusion and chaos. My familiar form will serve to assist Rauru in his task today. He senses me. It has been 200 worldly years since we last spoke. As a sage, his memory is perfect. He will remember my request. I appear before his visage and watch as he places his hands together in front of him. He stands regal and obedient.
Goddess Hylia, I am happy to see you well.
He greets me and bows. The deep resentment he felt when I last left him has dissipated. He has accepted what must be done. Following our first interaction regarding the terrible task, I waited 100 human years to approach him again, hoping to have properly executed the first phase of my plan. However, I was delayed. The last time we spoke, I had urged Rauru to be ready at any given moment. His anger was palpable then, but now his tranquility is encouraging. Sage of Light, I honor your commitment to your duties. You have reached far beyond your foundational responsibility, and it has resulted in solidifying my plans forthwith. After all of this time, you have remained true to me. I now ask you to act on my request. Please, release him. The sage eyes me with a level gaze, a solemnity seeping from his being. Yes, he will do as I ask, but he will be full of regret.
Holy Goddess, I must request something of you first.
I raise my chin in response, awaiting his ask. I cannot grant everyone each desire they express. It has never been the way of goddesses to allow such frivolity in wishing. Gain too much of something they want, and the beings of this world will fall into greed and evil as quickly as a thunderstorm crosses the sea. I have seen it before, but I will hear him.
You are an empathetic goddess. Your kindness crosses timelines. Your forgiveness, legendary. Your request of me is to release chaos into the world again. A world that has healed from chaos. My actions today, they will result in the deaths of innocents.
The sage pauses, gathering himself.
My request of you, Goddess Hylia, is to allow me to save this land again. I do not know why you wish the beast released, other than to force a destiny upon this timeline. But I do know that destiny can be fickle, that each choice made can impact the next, rippling new fates into existence. I would like that opportunity. If I must do this, let me undo it, as soon as your conscience allows it.
I take a moment to consider the sage's logic. It is true that destinies may be manipulated. I have done so with this line of time myself. I have crossed boundaries and secreted plans into motion beneath the very noses of the high goddesses that I serve. Goddesses who have their own plans for this timeline. All this I have done in service of my own agenda. Of course, the Sage of Light need not know this, but he is correct. Destiny is fickle. I reward Rauru with a serene smile. I am indeed an empathetic goddess, and while the fate this world has is set in permanence, I do understand the tragedy that is about to befall it. I will grant you a wish, Sage of Light, but you must have patience. Workings to provide destiny a pathway are complex. Every avenue has its purpose, its own bright beginning, even in darkness. But I will see that the innocent do deserve life. I watch the sage release a sigh of what I assume is relief. I cannot save every soul, and neither can you. But when there is a clear path to saving as many as we can, I will visit you again. Rauru nods to me, acquiescing to my terms. I allow my Hylian eyes to flicker toward the shining, rose-colored jewel that houses the beast, that ancient, curse-ridden monster, king of thieves and evil, Ganon. The sage follows my gaze and takes a breath. He separates his hands and raises one to the jewel, closing his eyes against the brilliant light that fills the sacred realm at his activation of magic. A sonic boom radiates from the jewel, and we both feel its force explode through our beings. My Hylian heart beats quicker as I witness the beast's ragged claws twitch to life.
Is there anything better than a durian at sunset?
Rinku asked his sister, taking an obnoxious, juicy bite. Ary, younger than Rinku by 6 years and somehow so much more mature, rolled her eyes and sighed.
Gross.
She said, flicking a durian seed into the ocean hundreds of feet below them. Their kicking legs dangled off the cliffside, and though Elder Chi-Chi forbade them to loiter here, rebellion against authority took a much higher priority for the siblings. So here they sat, enjoying the view of the orangey gold sunset and their juicy durians.
You don't know what gross is. I'll show you gross.
Rinku opened his mouth and proudly presented a glob of chewed up fruit.
Gross!
Ary repeated, punching her disgusting brother on the arm.
Ow! You need a stronger stomach.
He laughed.
You need stronger manners.
She replied, pasting her gaze to the beauteous landscape in front of them.
Mama taught you much better than that.
Yeah, well, she's not here anymore.
Ary winced, but ignored that comment. He was always bringing it up, how she left them.
She can't tell us what to do.
Rinku continued. As if to prove this point, he spat the glob out of his mouth, and Ary watched as it plummeted to the raging waves below. She risked a glance at her brother. Though an outsider might think him meek and innocent based solely on his bright blonde hair and striking blue eyes, Rinku was full of rage. When their father was murdered by pirates just before Ary was born, Rinku had become sullen. He hated the world and everything in it. Then when their mother left a few months ago, nothing mattered to him any longer. Well, maybe except for Ary. Elder Chi-Chi tried to teach Rinku how to operate in a world where nothing made sense and things only seemed to go wrong. But her brother struggled to understand why any of that was worth it. He infamously remarked all the time that, if I'm only going to lose things, why care about them? Ary couldn't have had a more contrasted outlook. His ornery disposition turned off everyone around him. But Ary empathized with Rinku. She understood exactly how he felt. She just went about dealing with it in a different way, channeled her emotions instead of letting them run wild. And she did her best to be there for her brother, even if it meant being criticized by him for it. Rinku was not a bully, but he was simmering with anger that he could not learn to focus. Right now, his face was scrunched up, mouth pursed, brow furrowed, like he was holding in that anger. And she knew it would bubble to the surface if she didn't redirect him.
How far do you think that drop is?
Ary asked him. She kept her voice calm.
I bet that glob made the grossest, sloppiest splat when it hit the water.
She watched as his face relaxed, and he smirked.
Gross.
He agreed. Ary smiled at him. She had the ability to pick through his pain and find his true soul. It felt like a kind of relief. At least, she'd like to think so. A brief break from the chaos within him. Ary didn't know why she was so much better at regulating herself. At just 7 years old, she carried the weight of the world. No parents, a struggling brother, a town full of people who shunned them simply because it seemed the children had suffered from some bad luck. The superstitions in the town of Hilus overpowered all logic at times, but somehow, some way, she had survived it all and had come out stronger. She drew her attention back to the setting sun, but instead of gorgeous colors and soaring seabirds, she saw an explosion in the distance. A mushroom cloud, deep red, expanding outward. From Hyrule Castle.
Rinku?
She whispered. Her brother followed her gaze, and his mouth fell open. Then he stood and grabbed her hand to pull her up.
We need to go. Now!
The descent into town proved a bit more treacherous than climbing up the cliff, but they hurried down anyway, toward the roaring waves on the beach. As they did so, a tremulous pulse echoed through the valley into which they raced, bringing along with it a soft boom. Once in town, they saw the townspeople rushing about, shutting themselves into their homes and avoiding the siblings' eyes. Rinku still held Ary's hand, pulling her toward Elder Chi-Chi's hut on the west side of their tiny village in Hilus. The old man was already on his porch, clutching his katana tight. It had a name, Ude, which Chi-Chi had told them meant a limb, like an arm. He said Ude was an extension of his own limbs, another part of him, just separated. Like how a spirit could be separated from a body. This had always struck Ary as poetic, yet sensical. To have a weapon as an extension of yourself meant you were always protected, but she also thought it meant you were always on guard. And what kind of life was that to live? Rinku probably related to it more than she, but right now, Ary was grateful for Ude because it meant they were protected.
Come, children,
The elder urged, waving them into the hut. A fire already raged in the hearth, lighting up the darkening room. Ary could see the skies outside turning red. As the door shut behind them, Ary let out a breath to hide a sob. Chi-Chi guided them to sit by the fire while he drew the curtains at every window, giving the doorknob a test twist. He ensured it was tightly locked. Only then did he give them a proper look over. Ary could see the suspicion in his eyes before he said a word.
You two were at the Floor Cliffs again, weren't you?
They said nothing in reply, but only Ary truly cared what Chi-Chi thought. Rinku would do whatever he wished regardless of the elder's rules.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you.
He trailed off as he watched their faces, his expression morphing between frustration and sympathy, and he sighed.
We'll speak about it later.
He finished, and sat in front of them, resting Ude across his lap. Truth be told, Chi-Chi let the siblings get away with a lot. Ary felt guilty, but all she could think of was what she had just seen. That color, the location of the explosion. Could it be, after all this time, could he be back?
It's him, isn't it?
Rinku said, speaking up for the first time as though he were reading Ary's mind.
We don't know that, boy.
Chi-Chi replied, though Ary could hear in his voice that he was questioning his own words. Rinku darted his eyes up, that scrunched expression returning.
Of course we know! He's returned!
He sprang up, his fists clenched.
And he's gonna kill us all!
Rinku!
Chi-Chi hissed, a warning in his voice.
Don't say such things. You're scaring your sister.
Ary was scared, but not because of Rinku. Her brother shook where he stood, working his jaw. She thought he might grind his teeth right to the bone if he didn't stop.
You don't want us afraid?
Rinku continued.
But it's too late. We know. We saw it. He's back. And it's over.
Ary wanted to argue that Chi-Chi was right. They didn't know anything yet. The only information they had was the little they'd seen. That explosion could have been caused by anything. Anyone. She wanted to say all of this, but couldn't, because deep inside her, she agreed with Rinku. They'd been taught about the legend from birth, the tale of the hero of time, a princess turned Sheikah warrior, and an evil beast who almost destroyed the world hundreds of years ago. The hero and the princess, along with 6 holy sages, stopped him, sealed him up in a secret place somewhere near the castle. But they'd been warned that over time, it was thought that the seal may break, that he'd get out and sweep over Hyrule again, leaving no survivors. Elder Chi-Chi had told them many times that he thought the tales were over-exaggerated, that the goddesses would never allow such a man to exist, let alone take over their precious land. but the legend held strong in the minds and superstitions of Hilus. Their town was one rooted in faith, founded by staunch followers of Hylia herself, and they fully believed in the legend of Ganon. So Ary stayed silent and stared into the fire as Rinku stomped off to his room. Chi-Chi sighed again, the weight of Rinku's terrible attitude heavy upon him, and proceeded to clean Uday's silver blade. She'd felt that same feeling before, that heaviness. But this time, her brother's propensity for negativity may prove true. They would just have to wait for the skies to clear. And if they didn't, then they'd know for certain if Hyrule was truly in danger yet again. Ary wondered if her mother was looking up at the very same red skies.
Red skies. There is something about the color red that makes my blood buzz. Blood. A prominent motif in my very long life. Why the Free chose it as the substance that keeps a person living is beyond me. But as I have lived amongst the blood-filled and taken on their form myself, I have come to realize that blood is full of magic. Perhaps this is why the beast's magic is colored the same Delphi hue. Deep and rich, almost purple, full of malice. I have followed his journey from beginning to present, and I must say, I am inspired by his resilience. If only I had the same ability. Though, indeed I am a god. I am as limited as the Goddess Hylia. We were both sent to this land in order to listen and learn after all. While the three golden goddesses are not omniscient, they certainly possess more knowledge than I, or Hylia, can ever hope to gain. We are second-tier gods. We are to serve them. The thought makes my buzzing blood boil. I wish to serve no one but myself. This I have determined after countless years of living among the people. The three molded these lands, sent law and life into them, upheld and nurtured by the pure life forms they created. And when they sent me here to monitor their creations, I saw only corruption. Those very same life forms had begun to evolve. And while physical law worked to keep the balance of the land, a less corporeal law took form, instilled by the people. But it proved shaky, imbalanced, and bred rebellion. As I witnessed thievery, murder, assaults of all kinds, and the sorrow these crimes induced, I came to a conclusion that oftentimes breaking laws could result in success. Criminals tended to do whatever they pleased in order to attain whatever they pleased. And this intrigued me. Me, Yami, god of law. Before you ask, no, I have not committed murder. However, those who have come into the path of my dealings have succumbed to their consequences every now and again. Some know the risks, others do not. It is not my obligation to ensure they are aware, when in truth, they are coming to me in desperation. Deep inside them, they understand that the risk they take begets reward, as long as they come through on their end of the deal. If they do not, well, that is their reverberation to bear. All this, and yet here I stand, hiding in the forest, watching the skies fill with the beast's rage. I hide from Hylia and the Free, and their incessant nobility. When I used what I had learned about this world to my advantage, the Free began to suspect me. They sent Hylia as an inquisitor to investigate my dealings, and when she saw my true aims, she betrayed me, after claiming she only wanted to assist me in rehabilitation. I, of course, was never going to allow that drivel to come to pass, and as soon as that two-faced, holier-than-thou goddess realized it, she reported back to the Free. If I had not used my power of transmutation to escape, I would be magically locked away this very moment, for as long as the three desired, which could be forever. Since then, I have been on the run, yes, but I have also been on the tail of Hylia, waiting for a chance to strike. She still walks these lands as a Hylian, pretending to be one of us. But she is not adapted to this world as I have. She does not understand it like I do. I had success, riches, community. She ripped my earthly life from me, and I will destroy her for it one day. I had witnessed Hylia cross through the many thresholds of the sacred realm today where I could not follow, and as she left it, a malicious explosion echoed through the lands. The beast has been released. There is only one explanation. Hylia is the cause. How hypocritical. A goddess who begged me to uproot my dealings and purify my spirit has unsealed the very evil that almost crushed this land centuries ago. I have an idea as to why she made that decision, but it doesn't matter. She is a traitor to not only her own kind, but her own flock. As I watch the spreading red above the trees darken, a thought occurs to me. Perhaps this is an opportunity. The three have suspected the beast would extricate himself, but I know for a fact they did not expect it this soon. Which means Hylia must have something in play to arrange his end. I cannot let that happen. With the beast in power, covering the land with his darkness, I can come out of hiding. I can continue my dealings whenever and wherever I please. Hylia will have done me a favor. But if she commences with her meddling and destiny wielding, I have no chance. I must stop her, but I will need help. I'll need to make a deal with a desperate soul.
I have always felt safest beneath the shadows of the forest. My body and my mind are both shaded from worry and chaos here. I've been able to count on its protection for ages. Yet now, as I stand hidden beneath the branches, I simmer in indecision. Ganon, a most powerful agent of darkness, a thorn bush invading Hyrule's lands, crowding out beings of light. He is the one part of this world I have yet to overcome. Rauru does not comprehend the reasons for my actions. I do not believe he can, even if I were to explain them. They are convoluted enough when laid bare, but all I have been able to ponder on over the many millennia during which I've existed has been the beast. I have been attempting to destroy him since the beginning. How long I have toiled and trod the earth, searching for ways to weaken him, seal him, but never kill him. He has taken on many forms. Most recently, a Gerudo man possessing the body like a parasite. He enjoys the Gerudo form. It is special, unique, unprecedented. A Gerudo male is only born every 100 years. He has taken this sacred form and used it for his own dark agenda. And not only in this line of time. I believed I was saving Hyrule in at least one sense when I guided Rauru to maneuver the princess and the hero toward their fates. That is how I posed it to the sage, that he was ensuring destiny took its fated path. But it was not destiny at work. It was me. Me, my hubris, and my overwhelming urge to make Ganon pay. And as a result, the Gerudo, Ganondorf, escaped his own banishment in the branched timeline where Link, the hero, had been sent. This I did not predict. I did not predict many things. But now, after 300 years and many false beginnings, I have finally done what was necessary. Ganon is released, free to spread his curse. But this only means one thing. I can destroy him, once and for all. Where he will go first is up to chance. But if he follows the same trodden path as before, he will remain near the castle, his desire for vengeance more powerful than any urge to survive. He will seek the king and the princess of this period, those who would aim to fight against him. There is no hero in this branch of time, but he may not have awareness of this. On the other hand, he may be able to sense the hero's absence, which will give him confidence. Ganon will murder anyone in his way. This I know with certainty. One may argue that my actions have caused this death and destruction, and while it is true in a sense, it is also true that necessity overtakes the need to protect life forms. A worldly being might call this mindset apathetic. Perhaps they would assume I do not care for Hyrule's residents, but my aims are focused so drastically in order to save everyone from further harm. They will never accept this. It can only be understood by a higher mind, and I have shouldered the consequences. I must confirm Ganon's whereabouts, so I allow the wind to carry my consciousness across the land and toward the castle. My spirit possesses a seagull, not my first choice of fowl, but it will do. The wind takes me where it will, after all. As I fly, the blood-colored skies rain red ash, the bits of malice burning my wings. This seagull will have wounds to tend to when it has been freed of my burden. Another sacrifice. The castle rises to meet me on the horizon, and I alight on a stone wall where I can see the entirety of Castletown. It is utter chaos. The screaming is reminiscent of the times when Hyrule has been at war. I see injury, tears, desperation soaking into the cobblestone streets. A mother clutches her infant child, sobbing into the thin blanket swaddling it. Grown men are terrified, groping for purchase, hollering obscenities at those in their way as they try to flee. Hyrulean soldiers attempt to organize an evacuation, with little success. They know what is coming. I raise the seagull's beady eyes to the sky, where the moon has appeared, full and red in the middle of the day, and I hear it. A raging, beastly roar. Ganon himself materializes in the middle of the square, crushing a flowing fountain into bits and pieces. He bellows to the moon, raising his clawed appendages to the sky, and hundreds of monsters appear from nowhere, pulled from dimensional space like worms from the earth. Each of them takes a moment to get its bearings, and they charge at the helpless souls cowering before them. The screams are louder now. I will the seagull to fly, away from the wretched reality I've created. Death remains at my back, and I flee from it. I am not ashamed to admit it. I flee. Back inside my Hylian form, I watch the seagull hop this way and that, trying to understand what has happened to it. It coddles its wings, grooming them, but the malice only spreads around its body, absorbed by its feathers. It screeches in pain, spasms racking its form, and then collapses, taking its last breath. I cannot escape from what I have caused. I will never escape it. This is proof of that. But it is my reverberance to bear.
Next time on Destined to Drown, Rinku knew there was no way he could protect his sister from what was to come. Ganon was back. Had Rinku hallucinated this terrifying transformation?
Don't be afraid, boy. You passed my test. I am called Yami.
We have aims to quell the beast's power, Ganon. The drowning will come our time, but it will take time to arrange.
You may, child. However, I cannot guarantee assent. You know this, yes?
I do, but I beg of you, Holy Mother, to please consider what I'm asking. If she's alive, I have to bring her back.